Welcome to another Monday night at Mory's. We're joined by the Joel E. Smilow, 54, head coach of Yale football, Tom Williams. And Coach, I guess the first question will be a word on the game against Penn on Saturday.
You bet. Well, it's obviously a disappointing loss to us. We felt like we didn't put our best foot forward. We dug ourselves a hole, but as I said to the team, I'm proud of our effort, our fight. It would have been easy to give in towards the end of the game, but our guys fought back and actually gave ourselves a chance to win at the end. As long as we've got that kind of spirit, we'll have a chance to win a lot of games this year.
Penn and Brown play each other, so one of them is not going to be unbeaten for long.
That's
so
right.
The Ivy title hopes are not gone.
Not at all. We need some help, and we understand that. But we got to make sure we take care of our business, and that obviously starts with the game this weekend against Columbia. But I think our guys will bounce back and play with great energy and give ourselves a chance again to get back in the victory column this weekend.
That stretch run last year, starting really with the Columbia game, which was a thrilling come-from-behind victory, and even the next three games, even though the record might not have been what you wanted on the stretch, I think a lot of observers saw the team take tremendous growth steps in that stretch run. Is that something you observed also?
Absolutely. I think we've gotten nothing but better, probably as you mentioned, since that stretch and then leading into this season. So I think we're still a young football team. I talked to our team on Friday night and I asked them how many guys have a championship ring, and two guys raised their hand, Tommy McCarthy and Austin Pulsifer. So we are a very young football team. We have not had a lot of guys that have played in a game of that magnitude. So again, sometimes you've got to take baby steps and be close before you can win those types of games.
And I think you see some big steps taken by the effort in the fourth quarter on Saturday.
And that's been a standard of our play. We know that we've got a chance to win every game because of the attitude that we have. The guys never give up, and as long as you've got that attitude, you'll always have a chance.
When you look at Columbia, what do you see?
Columbia's a much improved team. I think the quarterback that is now leading the team is a guy that can hurt you with his arm and with his leg. So we've got to do a very good job of containing him. Their offensive line is big, and they block out the sun. I think they're 6'7" at the tackle position, and 6'4" and 6'5" inside. So they got some big guys up front. Defensively, they're smaller on defense, but they're fast and agile. So we'll have to do a good job of covering those guys up and trying to create space for our backs.
Last week I asked you to give a midterm grade, and you gave a B+, and you said place kicking was probably dragging that down. Well, this week Philippe Panico took care of that.
Yeah, it's great to get some confidence in the kicking game. We ran some fakes, as earlier in the season, try to slow down some of the rush that we were getting. One ended up being a touchdown, but what we were able to do is kind of take the lid off the goal, so to speak. A sharpshooter, all he needs to make one to get back on the groove, and we made one. And you could see that the next swings that Philippe took were confident swings. The protection was there. The snap, hold, and kick was what they needed to be. And hopefully we can grow from there.
You talk about the young players on the team, and Deion Randall might not have gotten in the Wildcat this past week, but he did have a few strong runs, and there was one play in particular, I think, where he picked up a nice block from Wes Gavin.
You bet.
And you found those two guys in the same place out in San Diego.
You bet. Well, Deion did a great job for us in the return game as well. But I think he had 3 rushes for 30 yards, so 10 yards a rush. We need to give him the ball more. That was clear to us. We've talked about it throughout the season. Sometimes the game dictates how many times you can run a Wildcat formation or those types of things. We found ourselves behind. We had to throw the ball a little bit more than we needed to, than we would have liked, which took us out of the Wildcat game. But we've got to get Deion some more touches, and we intend on doing that on Saturday.
Why don't you talk about, for the fans who don't know, there's a lot more that goes into being a running back than carrying the football and running with it.
You bet.
It's a position that it takes a while for young guys to learn.
Yes. Well, and the biggest thing the young running backs learn in my experience is pass protection. The thing that they do most naturally is run with the ball. But the pass protection part of it, there are some nuances to protections, knowing who they're supposed to read, where they pick them up, what gap is available for them to pick those things up. And to the lay person, they don't quite understand that. But for us coaches, there's a lot that's required. And Deion is on track, I think, to pick all those things up.
Coach, shifting gears a bit, a big topic in the NFL and the football scene all around the country this week, in the past week and a half, has been head injuries. And the NFL didn't change its rules really, but just put a little more emphasis on the rules for its players. What do you think are your reaction to all the head injury talk that's going on this past week?
Well, the head injuries probably have been around for as long as the game has been around, but the diagnosis now is different. And I think what the NFL is attempting to do is to keep players from launching, leaving the ground to intentionally target a defenseless player's head, and that's, as I understand the rule, what they're trying to do. So again, I think that that's exactly right. I think that those are the things that we want to do to protect the players. But I think that there's a little bit of an overreaction. I think we experienced that on Saturday with a call that we got on one of our players against a Penn player. And upon further review, we hear back from the league today, and they tell us that it was an incorrect call, that it was not targeting, it was just a clean football play. But the violence is associated with the game. And I think that it's going to be difficult to legislate violence out of football when it is an inherently violent sport.
Some of the hardest hits are actually clean hits, and the NFL, I thought, did a very good thing. We got a chance to look at the video that they sent to their officials and their players, and they, in addition to showing what couldn't be done, showed a lot of examples of hits that were hard.
Yes.
And Ray Lewis was starring in some of those clean hits that would look more physical than some of the illegal ones. I think that's to your point.
That's exactly right. And I think the officials have got to do a good job of determining just good, clean, hard football and a guy who's leaving his feet and intentionally trying to hurt another player. Big difference.
You're not associated with this comment, but officials can also start by spotting the ball a little more accurately.
Well, listen, there was a lot of plays on Saturday that had me scratching my head, and we got to get that fixed. The officiating in this league is not what it needs to be, and we've heard back from the league that they missed some calls. But to come back on Monday and say that is way too late, and you rob a team an opportunity to win a football game when you make those types of mistakes.
All right, Coach, last question here. On Monday at Mory's will be, your outlook going into this week. What do you hope the tone to be this week in practice heading into Columbia?
Well, we got to come back with great energy and enthusiasm and get right back to where we were. Obviously, we were disappointed in the outcome of the game, but we're still a good football team. Young, but very talented, and we have the ability to win every game on our schedule or lose every game on our schedule, depending on our attitude and how we approach it. If we come back the way I think we will, we'll be fine. And I think our guys will play with great energy on Saturday, and we have got to continue to eliminate the mistakes that put you in jeopardy of losing football games.
All right, well, that's Coach Tom Williams. Join him and the Bulldogs 10:30 on Saturday morning at the Walter Camp Arch for the Bulldog Walk as Yale gets set to take on Columbia on Saturday. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Ron.